right, kindergarten. The first thing that we're gonna do for today is make sure your name is on the back. Please write it with a pencil. And then flip it over to the front. And we're gonna do something called tissue paper painting. So we have some colored tissue paper that I have cut up. And basically, what happens whenever you get tissue paper wet is the color from the tissue paper will come out and go onto your paper. So I'm gonna start with a color. A lot of these are all stacked up on each other, so make sure you take your fingers and you rub them together like this so that you only get one, okay? You're just gonna start, you can start anywhere in your paper. I'm gonna start in the top corner right here, and I have my paintbrush. I have to get my paintbrush nice and wet, and then I'm just gonna put some paint in that top corner. Then I'm gonna take my tissue paper and lay it on my paper, and then I'm gonna take a little bit more water and paint on top, okay? If you guys look, I'll bring the paper closer. If you look close, you can see that the color is coming out of the tissue paper. I'm going to just keep going, and you're gonna fill up your whole paper with tissue paper until there's no more white spaces. You have to make sure all of the edges are touching. If they're not, you're gonna do the project wrong. So make sure all the edges are touching. I would suggest, I'll give you a little tip. If you use colors that don't mix well next to each other, it could make a color that you won't like, okay? So I will give you a little tip. If you either stick with cold colors or warm colors, you will get a better color blend between your colors. So I'm only doing cold colors right now because my colors will blend together all nicely. I want you guys leave your tissue paper on your paper. Do not take off the tissue paper. Another thing I want to talk about is all of my tissue paper. Notice how I only chose one at a time, okay? If you take out a bunch and then put them next to your table, what might happen is your tissue papers might get wet, okay? And once your tissue paper is wet, you can't really use it anymore. And I don't want to be wasteful. I want to make sure that everybody has the chance to add whatever colors they want. So please, please, please leave these in the box. And also make sure that your hands are dry before you go and grab a new piece of tissue paper, okay? Watch how see how I moved my fingers just like this, and I got one piece of tissue paper. Fill up your whole paper with the tissue paper. It's okay if you layer them, like if you want to put a few on top of each other. Like I put this one a little bit over my blue one. That is totally fine if you want to do that. But just make sure that, again, that there are no white spaces.